ISG, today's topic is the revolver. This is often viewed as an antiquated or outdated piece of equipment, and rightly so in a lot of regards. What we're going to do today is similar with what we did for the pump shotgun. It's not completely outdated, and it's still a relevant tool for a few reasons. One, it's reasonably close to ban-proof. Even states with real stringent laws are going to have a hard time getting rid of revolvers. Second, we don't always get our choice. In many Latin American countries and countries over in Europe, revolvers are pretty prevalent still. While they've fallen largely out of favor with security, police, military, and civilian shooters in the United States, they do have a presence in other places, and therefore you should be able to functionally run one of these things. So a few of the things that we're going to talk about, we're going to keep it very simple for this video presentation, is grip and then a little bit of operation in terms of reloading and topping off. So one of the first things to consider if you've decided to pick up a revolver or you've been forced to pick one up is don't roll your thumbs forward like you do with an autoloader. There's tons of horror stories around the internet where guys have basically blown their thumbs apart because these pressurized gases escape from here. On an autoloader, they do not. So if you roll that forward thumb like you do with an autoloading pistol, you're going to get some pain on that thumb. So you want to hold it a little bit differently. Get it as high up as you can, like you would with any other pistol, and then wrap this support side hand around like so. So it's a little bit different, a little bit awkward for people who are just starting out, but it actually makes good sense and it holds pretty nicely. One of the things about revolvers is because they lack a reciprocating slide, they shoot pretty steady, so you don't have to have quite as much frame contact to shoot it accurately. The second thing we want to talk about is best practice for reloads. So like rifles or autoloading pistols, there's kind of two types. There's the emergency reload. We're going to dump all of our rounds and start completely over. And then there's the proactive reload, where if you have to stop and you've got a lull, you can take and selectively reload the revolver and make sure it's topped off. It's a little bit difficult and bordering on impractical. And in fact, it's one of the weaknesses of the revolver, but still it's a good thing to know. So let's talk about the procedure for reloading. Now, credit where it's due, I picked this up from a combination of sources. Mas Ayub has, I think, almost directly the same technique, and I've learned a lot from watching Claude Werner. So please reference them. They are the revolver guys that you should be looking to, not us. We're happy to convey some of the information and some of our experiences, but they've got far more years in practice than we do. So to reload the revolver, what we're going to do is we're going to go from our firing position. We're going to take our support side hand, and this is a Ruger. This is a GP100 Talo. So it has a press button cylinder release. Some of the Smith & Wessons or other models, you have to press forward and the cylinder will swing out. It's essentially the same either way. So with this, what we're going to do is we're going to take our support side thumb, bring it up, and press that cylinder release. At the same time, we're going to take two of our fingers, the middle two fingers on our dominant firing side hand, we're going to punch right through the cylinder, and we're going to wrap these top two fingers over the top of the frame. Now that gives us two things. One, a pretty good grip on the revolver, and two, it stops the cylinder from moving around. It's going to be really important because loading that thing is a pain, especially if you're not doing it with a speed loader. So now we've got this basically stable, we're going to take our hands, we're going to use the fat, meaty part of our hand, we're going to hit that plunger, we're going to hit it hard. One of the things that you're going to find shooting revolvers is the cases expand in the cylinder, and it's going to take more than just a delicate little tap. You're going to have to plunge that thing, right? You might have to do it a couple times. We're going to rotate the pistol back downward, extract our rounds. In this case, I'm using a speed loader. Drop it in, twist, discard it or retain it as the case may be, and then rotate it back up and on target, and then you're ready to continue firing. So we've covered some of the myths in our article, but let's talk about a couple of the strengths. So the revolver does have a few things going for it. Other than being pretty innocuous and not really on anybody's radar in terms of being a scary firearm, they're also multi-caliber. A .357 will fire .357 and .38 specials. Now that's handy to have not only in times of emergencies, but in regular day-to-day gun politics where the hate engine of the political crowds might change directions on a whim, and you may end up with shortages. We saw that big time in 2008 and again in 2011. So having a multi-caliber firearm kind of makes some sense. In addition, revolvers are fairly reliable, mechanically simple and robust. They also lack magazines. So there was a great story by Tom Givens discussing some experiences that some of his students had had during Hurricane Katrina, and you may have heard us reference this before. They were doing all of their normal everyday gun stuff, shooting with their handguns, dropping their magazines, doing reloads, and running gunfights in the street. Now they're in 1.5 feet of disgusting storm water and surge, and after the gunfight was over, they found themselves with nothing but the magazine that was in the pistol. So that creates a huge problem, and that is one of the significant problems with the autoloader. Without a magazine, it's a single shot, and it's not a fast single shot. Revolvers, while they might be slow in comparison now, if those circumstances ever came up, they could be actually faster. If you found yourself in a position where your magazines were all broken, they had been lost in a situation like that, you can still reload the revolver without a magazine. It'll still work. It's actually a little bit quicker. So there's reasons over the long haul to keep a revolver around, and we think that they're probably worth your time. Even if you don't want to focus on one now, it's a good idea to fully skill yourself up with your autoloader, your primary carry, and then start looking at a revolver to train with. If you do that, you're going to be an asset, and that's our goal. Assets in any situation. We hope that this is helpful. Please leave any comments or concerns you may have about running the revolver, and we'll update as necessary.